This is St. Louis on the Air from St. Louis Public Radio. I'm Elaine Cha. We're halfway through December, and this Sunday afternoon, the St. Louis Chamber Chorus will perform its holiday concert. It will include classics like the Wexford Carol, as performed in this live 2018 recording of the chorus. That is the St. Louis Chamber Chorus's 2018 live recording of the Wexford Carol. And joining me now is Philip Barnes, Artistic Director of the St. Louis Chamber Chorus. Thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me, Elaine.
Now, the program this Sunday afternoon reflects the overall theme of the Chamber Chorus's season, which is a choral atlas. In other words, a trip around the globe. Before we talk more about the holiday program, Philip, what is the St. Louis Chamber Chorus aiming to accomplish this season?
I think to show the universality of the human voice, the way people just love to get together and make music together with their voices. They don't need to buy expensive instruments, and they don't necessarily have to go and study for years at a conservatory. They just love to sing. And that is a human dynamic that you find on just about every continent. But you find different traditions within those continents. And so what's a lot of fun for us to do as musicians is to explore those different ideas and to get out of our comfort zone. And music, choral music, is performed, as I say, just about everywhere. So we've already explored all the nations that go around the Baltic Sea, and then we went all the way down to Mexico and looked at some Mexican music from about 450 years tradition. And now we're looking at the Holy Land and what that really means. And then in the second half of the season, we'll explore samples from the monolithic Austro-Hungarian Empire, and we'll look at the ancient Greeks, and finally we'll have a celebration of bringing us all together with music that has the idea of nations being united, and we'll actually conclude with a very rarely performed cantata by the British composer Benjamin Britten that was commissioned by the United Nations.
Mm-hmm. It seems very appropriate to kind of what is happening now. Another piece that the chorus will be singing this Sunday that does take us on that around-the-world journey shares a name with a small island off the coast of Scotland. That's Iona by Edmund Walters, and what we're hearing now is a live recording of the St. Louis Chamber Chorus singing in 2006. That was the St. Louis Chamber Chorus in 2018 in 2006, singing Iona by Edmund Walters. It's one of the songs audiences will enjoy at the Chamber Chorus's holiday concert this Sunday. But that afternoon, the audience will hear something no other has, the premiere of a new centerpiece by Kerensa Briggs, the London-based composer who's the St. Louis Chamber Chorus's composer in residence. Kerensa is here with us now. Kerensa, welcome.
Thank you so much. Nice to be here.
Now, you've been the composer in residence for the St. Louis Chamber Chorus for 2 years. How is it that you've approached this work?
Well, it's just a really great experience to actually have had this opportunity to get to know and work with the choir before. And it's something that doesn't happen too often, really. Often I'll have to write a piece for a group and that will kind of be that. But in this instance, it's been really nice to actually have the chance to hear the choir and kind of get used to the sound of their kind of individual voices. So in terms of approaching the writing of the piece, I worked with Tony Silvestri, who's a great writer, on the text. And it was just a very inspiring text to work with. It was very kind of poignant and something kind of simple and direct about it, which was a real joy to write the music to.
Mm-hmm. Now, this Sunday will be the premiere of that song, which is called Seeking You. And that poem that you are talking about is one that was commissioned by the St. Louis Chamber Chorus. Can you tell us a little bit more about how the music and the lyrics, how they play together and what they do to amplify sort of the power of the voices that will be singing it?
Yes. So the words are quite sort of, in some ways, quite simple, and it's all about seeking. Seeking you is kind of about finding that kind of holy space, finding peace, and kind of searching for something a bit deeper. And I suppose what I've tried to sort of do with that is just reflect that in the music, really, and using the kind of sound of the chorus and hoping to, write something that's quite sort of emotional, but kind of warming, that kind of warming Christmas sound that you get in a lot of Christmas time music as well.
Right. Philip, for you, what does the poem mean, and how does it reflect the choral atlas theme that you were describing earlier?
Well, I gave Tony Silvestri the sort of very simple brief that the whole season is about geographical and topographical references. And when you hear the words the Holy Land, you think of Judea, Israel, Bethlehem, Nazareth, Egypt, all those things. And those things will be indeed on the programme. But I said to Tony, let's try and expand the idea to what makes land holy. And Iona, that we just heard, has an atmosphere. It was where St. Columba founded a monastery, and it has a sort of atmosphere of holiness about it to this very day. And so he created this poem, which talks, as Kerensa has said, about the idea of finding a deeper meaning and a mysticism almost in any place where you choose to seek the holy.
Mm-hmm. What is it about what has been composed, Kerensa, by you, that gets at the sacred, which maybe is another way to describe what you have talked about, Philip, regarding holy and how that feels?
I think that's a really difficult thing to describe, actually, but it's something that I certainly aim for in a lot of my music, is just to kind of reach that space that's a little bit not ethereal, but just that space where it actually something sort of touches you when you're listening to it. And it's something that in the music I listen to a lot, and of the composers that I sort of look up to, it's that power to kind of take you somewhere else, or just, I don't know, sort of touch your heart or your gut or whatever, that I kind of really admire and try to seek out to do in my writing as well.
It's sometimes said that music takes over where words end. So that's what we wanted from these two artists, and I hope that that's what the audience will hear.
Yeah. And so were you thinking of these two artists, Tony Silvestri and Kerensa, when you reached out to each of them? How did this happen?
Absolutely. Tony Silvestri wrote a libretto for a former composer-in-residence, Morten Jansen, some years ago. So I know his work intimately that way. He's also one of America's top writers of this type of text for musicians. I knew that Kerensa has this great gift for simplicity without it being trite, you know. And so I was the marriage maker, if you will. I wanted to bring the two of them together and see how the two of them could collaborate for the first time, hopefully the first of many times, and create something brand new for St. Louis.
Making some beautiful music. Kerensa, is there something that you particularly enjoy about composing Christmas music? Or, are there some challenges that come with that you enjoy tackling?
I think there's an element of challenge in making things not too cheesy, as some Christmas music can be. But it's something I enjoy doing. I've written a carol called The Tender Shoot a few years ago now, which is nice to hear at Christmas time. But I mean, to be honest, I like writing it any time of year.
Okay. And with the premiere this Sunday of Seeking You, what is it that you hope to see the audience do while they're listening and as they're walking out?
I just hope that people really enjoy it, which I'm sure they will. If occasionally it happens that someone might cry, and that's always nice that it's been an emotional experience for someone. But I don't know. I just hope that everyone enjoys it and finds all the other music in the concert interesting to listen to as well.
And is there something about this song and the process that you've gone through that you're particularly proud of? Did it give you an opportunity to do something in a new way?
I think so. I've spent quite a lot of time writing quite big pieces for quite just this year for kind of large forces and orchestra and big choir, and I think I really wanted to do something with this that was kind of on a smaller, more intimate scale. So it's in only 4 vocal parts, and it was just trying to get to that sort of, I don't know, cozy Christmas feeling,
right.
But something that's kind of meaningful as well.
And Philip, the commissioning of this work, I understand you wanted it to be within reach of most choirs, and you just mentioned, Kerensa, the number of parts, 4 vocal parts only. What does this mean in the context of this song, Seeking You? Why did you want it to be accessible?
One of the big advantages and attractions of a composer residency program is that you can get to know an individual artist and work with them repeatedly on commissions. And we've asked Kerensa to really sort of try different combinations. So the first commission she wrote was actually for 2 choirs of 6 voices each, so 12 different parts, very big scale when it comes to singing. Then she wrote a setting of a chorus from Sophocles' play Antigone, which was in 8 parts with a tenor solo. And so, as she says, a lot of her music is on a very big scale.
Right.
So I thought this time, the ultimate challenge is to write something on a very intimate chamber scale, so chamber choir.
Right.
And the reason why that's challenging is that you can't hide behind lots of pyrotechnics and effects, like 10 people using a cymbal and somebody running across the stage and playing triangle and trumpets going crazy. If there are only 4 voice parts, that's about as cut down elemental as you can get. Nearly every chorus or hymn that you would sing in a church or a chapel or even a synagogue will be in 4 parts. Mm-hmm. And what we really wanted was to contribute to the wider choral repertoire by asking Kerensa to write a piece that we could premiere, but then could have an afterlife with 4 friends anywhere around this globe. Mm-hmm. And that's the dream. And I think, personally, I'm biased, of course, but I think she's made it. She's achieved it. I think people hearing it on Sunday will go, that was very beautiful and very direct. And some of them, hopefully, will say, how do I get the music for that?
Right. I hope so, too. Philip Barnes is Artistic Director of the St. Louis Chamber Chorus, and Kerensa Briggs is the London-based composer and St. Louis Chamber Chorus's composer in residence. Kerensa and Philip, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Today's episode was produced by our executive producer, Alex Hoyer.
Audio engineering and podcast design by Aaron Dorr.
St. Louis on the Air is a production of St. Louis Public Radio. Understanding starts here.
St. Louis on the Air proudly supports local artists by using music from Life Creative Group.
Do you find yourself regularly listening to episodes of St. Louis on the Air? Suggest us to a friend you think might enjoy our conversations. And leave us a review and rating on Apple Podcasts on the App Store. It's the simplest way to help people discover our show. Thanks.
St. Louis Public Radio is a member-supported service of the University of Missouri St. Louis.
Support comes from the Missouri Forest Products Association. Missouri produces wood pallets, railroad ties, white oak barrels, hardwood floors, and more. Details on the variety of products made in the state are at choosewood.com.